Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Hearth Bound, where three lifelong friends set out on a virtual quest through the pages of an iconic book series, all while celebrating each fictional female character fantasy with a tall, well-poured glass of crippling reality. Sorry, Sean. My name is Matt Mullen, and I'm accompanied by Lou Chapman and Sean Martz, the guy liner and hair flip to my black parade. Middle school. In this episode, we get our feet wet in Chapter 6, The Last Wish, the namesake of the first book in the Witcher series. As mentioned in the last episode, we haven't finished the book in podcast time, but we have finished the book in real time. Maybe that's what the cars were talking about. Anyway, this means that we're going to be on the wild hunt for a new book for Season 2. As you will learn in this episode, Lou has decided to leave our destiny in the hands of the listeners. So hit us up on Twitter at HearthboundPod and let us know which book you'd like to see on the ballot. When we drop the poll, you'll be able to vote for which book you want us to butcher for Season 2. Oh, and side note, you should also probably do that other voting thing too if you haven't done so already. Alright, so without further ado, start your pour at a 45, always answer the phone when your mom calls, and don't forget to call C-Check, because this is Hearth Bound.
Okie doke. What are you guys drinking tonight?
I'm drinking O'Fallon's pumpkin stout. Pumpkin cream stout.
You wanted to say porter, didn't you?
Pumpkin cream stout.
I was going to say, because pumpkin porter just sounds really good. Pumpkin porter.
It does.
Why
I'm
don't you
drinking
pour me a pumpkin porter.
a pint of pumpkin porter, if you please.
Ah.
I would say that I'm drinking New Holland's Ichabod pumpkin ale, and it's fantastic.
That is a good one.
I don't think I've ever had this before, and it's going to be
never
dangerous.
had that one?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ichabod's. It's a good one. It's a good story, too. Maybe a future podcast. Ooh.
So, I know that I don't usually do this, but before I tell you about my beer, I just wanted to talk about, we've had the coolest people reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram, people from all over the place, which is kind of awesome, because I'm like, I love hearing from friends and family, but it's nice to hear from someone completely
Oh shit! I do need to call my mom. Good call, Matt. Thank you.
But I had to look it up on Twitter because I didn't want to butcher the handle. But Dizzy Miss Lizzie, with a lot of Z's, dude, she's laying down some beer knowledge on me about all kinds of different places that we should go. She's got some good ideas. She's like, you guys should do a brew tour. I was like, you know what?
Ooh.
I think I'm down for that. But
I think I'm about that.
She's been watching the Witcher series, and we've been talking about the things that she drinks or the beers that she chooses to drink per episode. So I was like, for this chapter today, I was really excited to drink Jackie O's Mystic Mama, West Coast style IPA. And the can's really cool. I know that nobody can see this, but I'll show you guys.
Ooh, that is a pretty dope can.
I was like, how appropriate for...
Check Instagram. It'll be up there.
Oh, it'll be up there.
Did you screenshot us? Did I look stupid
No,
in the
I'm just
screenshot
going
with
to
my
take a
mouth
picture
open?
of it.
No, I'm just going to take a picture.
I'm just going to do that thing
with
my phone. But
you
yes.
know.
So I know that was like a little shout out, but have been having some solid combos, and you can probably get a shout out too if you just give us the old follow on Twitter, strike up a conversation.
Talking about beer is usually a good way to do that.
Yeah.
That'll be a good, or The Witcher, or another book that we should read. I've been getting a lot of, in my realm of friends and family, I've been getting a lot of requests or inquiries if we're going to do Dune or not, which before the epic trailer that was released, I don't know, that had been like last week, right?
Yeah.
I had never heard of this story, like at all. So if it is one that we do, I'm really interested because I know nothing other than the fact that it looks like it takes place in the desert based off that trailer.
Oh my God. Well, fun fact, Lou, it is your turn to pick a book, or to be influenced to pick a book. But Sean and I are already convinced on Dune, so no pressure, buddy.
See, I don't just
I
want
already
to
bought
outright pick. Like, see, so like, if we're gonna put it on me, then I would much rather have listeners take part and do some kind of poll to see what people that listen to us blab about books want us to blab about.
Sean and I knew you'd say that, so our recommendation was putting Dune for every option. So which book should we read? Dune?
Option A, Dune.
Or
Option B,
Dune?
Dune. Option C,
Option C.
all of the above.
That's true. I know that it's this just massive hype train right now, but it's a book that all three of us have not read.
But I mean, like, so Sean, do you know anything about it? Like, have you read this? You have not read this book. So do you know anything about it either?
I haven't read Dune. No, I know it's science fiction fantasy, and I want to say it's dystopian future science fiction fantasy.
See,
so
I'm
whatever
all about that.
subgenre that is.
I'm about that.
Um,
I'm about that. Kind of like from the trailer, I
Google
got that Ender's Game vibe, right? It's kind of the vibe I got, at least.
But they got all that going on, and then giant monster worm Earth destroyer thing. I was like, and I'm sold. Monsters plus sci-fi plus fantasy, you got me.
I mean, you can't go wrong.
I'll crack a beer to that.
But like, side note, like, I know we talk about covers when we read them, but how awesome does that cover look too?
There's so many cool covers. Like
I think the one I saw was just like, it was just a bunch of rainbows all in different directions, but they spelled out the word Dune in like a 4-section plane. But then any way you rotated the book, it still spelled out Dune, which I thought was so cool.
Oh, that is cool. I saw the cover that sold me. I know we're talking a lot about Dune, but the cover that sold me was there's like the silhouette of a like dude out in the desert with these like green eyes. And then like the word Dune is spelled out in the sky. It's like the hardbound version. It's just like, boom, like beefy book. I was like, I need that. There's maps in it, Lou. I was thinking about you. I was like, Lou's going to like the map. He's going to see it and freak out.
I've been getting, side note, but I've been getting these awesome Instagram ads from this Instagram account called Lord of Maps. And like he draws real maps in Lord of the Rings style. So like he drew the state of Ohio, but it looks like Lord of the Rings style map. Yeah.
Talk about a money-making machine right there.
And he's got like all the states, and then he's got a few other areas like Europe and stuff like that. But yeah, it was pretty cool. But we are going on the longest of tangents. All to say, really follow us on Twitter, interact with us, give us some beer recommendations. We're always looking for those.
And book recommendations.
Tell us we are almost done with this book. We are right around the corner. We think this is going to be the second to last episode, right?
Yeah. For season 1. In the books.
Done. Penultimate episode.
So
episode 12.
Unless somebody has a very good reason why we should not read Dune next.
Yeah. Let's hear from those anti-Duners, because we have a lot of pro-Duners.
Yeah. Let's talk about The Witcher then.
Let's talk about we're nearly 9 minutes in. Let's start talking about chapter 6.
Pick up on chapter 6, Voice of Reason. And this was kind of a lower key voice of reason. I think it's because it's kind of a setup, and it's kind of like it's like, we can't take all the thunder away from the last voice of reason, which is after this short story. But this one essentially takes place at Melita's temple, inside what is kind of like a natural greenhouse cave that Neneka is using to grow herbs and plants and things for her potions and such that can't grow anywhere else. And I thought it was really cool. What did you guys think about this one?
First and foremost, Lewis, I would like to pop your balloon on how to pronounce the name of this religious facility that has been going on the entire book. I had to Google it because you have just embedded this way of saying it in our brains.
Can you say it again for us, Lou?
One more time, Lou.
So it's not Melita's temple?
No.
Oh, no.
There's 2 ways I've heard to pronounce it, and no one has like thrown a fit about either of them. Melitella And
No.
I put Melatali.
No,
Melatella and Melatali.
wasn't it? Melitala.
Melitala.
Because it sounded like a dance. Like you got the
got the
congo, the
Melitala.
salsa, the melitala.
That's pretty much what I've been saying. Melita's temple.
You
It's-
toss
it's
another
more-
T in there. I appreciate it, but that's for me. That is the name of the temple. Whatever you say it is, it's it. But
Melatelli.
yeah, so Geralt, he is in this what I have called Willy Wonka's chocolate factory for witchers, in this secret cave that he has to access. Sounds like via like grotto, like he has to dive under a pool of water and then pop up on the other side in this cave, because it like starts off with him taking off his shirt that's soaking wet and he's flopping it down. So I'm like, he was just swimming, which I found pretty odd for like a religious temple. So I'm thinking this is somewhere that is purposely secret from the rest of the temple that only Nennekin knows about.
Can we put the Metal Gear Solid Snake like the ding noise right there? When we talk about secret, just ding.
Yeah.
I'll try to work something out. I have so many ideas for season 2. But they start to exchange this dialogue about Yennefer and Nenneke they had met because Geralt finds Nenneke in there and they are having a conversation about Yennefer and about how she will find Geralt there and that she has already been there. So she knows about this temple. She knows that he goes there on a somewhat normal basis. So they kind of get into it about Yennefer because Geralt, we're starting to see this soft side to him through the eyes of Nenneke. She is kind of calling Geralt a bitch this entire time because he's got this soft spot for Yen, and she is just telling him pretty much to just let her go, forget about her, move on with your life, stop trying to make it work. It's not working. You've seen it fail. Every time you try, it fails. I'm not your mom. Don't come to cry on my shoulder, and she's totally being a mom because that's just her character, but she has to maintain that badass persona, but she's just kind of laying into Geralt here for the entire voice of reason about Yennefer, who we have not been introduced to at all in the book yet.
Not yet, but we find out a few things about her, which make me very attracted to her. First thing is that she's angry all the time, and I was like, this is perfect.
I love that.
Yeah. No, she's angry all the time. We find out that she can't have kids either. We find that out here.
Well, that's probably why she's angry all the time.
Maybe.
Probably a reason.
Yeah, I'm not a lady, but hey.
And we get a look at their relationship, and we find out that Geralt's and Yennefer's relationship is very strained.
Very, very complicated. If they were on Facebook, it would be it's complicated.
Yeah, which I love as an option on Facebook. Like, when I don't know what's going on, it's complicated.
It's complicated.
So one of the cool thing I thought about the temple, they were talking about why all these secret magic plants grow here and nowhere else in the world. Because Geralt comments and says, these plants don't exist anywhere else. And Nenneke's like, yeah, I know. And one of the reasons, and it kind of gets into the philosophical debate that they've been going back and forth, and Nenneke's like, just take it on faith. And Geralt's like, no, it's not faith. There's a reason for it. And she's like, okay, you're right. It's because the crystal in the roof acts like a filter and only certain wavelengths of light can get through, and that's why these certain plants grow only here. So I thought it was a really cool science moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And listeners, can I point out that Nenneke doesn't actually say the word wavelengths, but Sean had to give her that scientific background.
You should have just said like chakra or something. The vibes are good, man. My third eye open.
Yeah, good vibes only, Geralt. That's why I'm not letting you cry in here.
Yeah.
No, we don't need those bad vibes.
But one of the things that I also thought was interesting to point out in this Voice of Reason interesting drink is that Yennefer came to the temple. Now I'm scared to say it. Came to see Nenneke, and you get the sense, I don't know if it's actually stated, but you get the sense that she came to the temple in search of a cure for her ability to not have kids. And Neneka kind of, says, many women have tried to solve the problem that Yennefer's trying to solve, and I've yet to see a fix for that problem. And Yennefer also is kind of subtly looking for Geralt to see if he's been there recently, because you kind of get the sense that, like, they just had a fight. Like, we don't really know the details about it, but like Matt was saying, they were kind of together, complicated, but then something happened. We don't know what it is as the reader, but you get the idea that there's history.
So immediately, like, after this, like, kind of nod towards this conversation, Geralt is trying to convince Neneka that the next time Yennefer is there, he wants to give her something, which I have 2 notes on that. First of all, they mention him pulling out something out of his, quote, secret pocket in his pants. And
the old prison wallet.
I was like, what? I know The Witcher he's a man of very few words. He wears everything on his sleeve, but he's got this, like, secret pocket, but it seems like the Mary Poppins purse of pockets. Like, he's digging around in this thing, like, where is it? And what he's trying to do and what he's trying to pull out are these jewels. And right away, Neneka is already like, no, absolutely not, Geralt.
First thing she says.
Yeah, I am not going to be your middleman between your love interest to try to buy her back with these stupid jewels. And I'm like, Geralt, look at him playing to his strengths. Straight to a woman's heart through jewels out of his secret pocket. Like, this is all he has. The Witcher has been slaying monsters this entire book to get money to give directly to Yennefer. What if that's not love?
What is love?
Baby, don't hurt me.
But Neneka, she's not having it. And her response to this is just a series of kind of, man up, Geralt. Like, you're being such a baby about this. Like, I've never seen you act like such a coward. She just starts laying into him. And he is just like, just taking it. And again, I was reminded how upset I was that she's not in the show. Because, like, the image of her in my mind, the only other thing that I can relate that to is Madame Pomfrey in Harry Potter. I know I've said that before, but it's like, I just see that, like, older nurse, badass, like, just sassing everybody. Like, it doesn't matter how powerful you think you are. Like, I'm going to speak my mind. And she does.
Yep.
So, it was pretty savage.
I'm a big fan of hers as well. But that was pretty much the end of it. So, like, she lays into him.
We find out one other thing. It was Neneka who sent Yola to Geralt.
Oh, yes, that is. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yes. So we find out that Yola's visit to Geralt at the very beginning, the very, very first pages of this book, was Neneka's doing. So I do think, I remember I wrote this down as well, that I think it was Sean that said that that Yola spending the night with Geralt was a plan. Like,
it's was a trap.
It's a trap, essentially.
I'm just going to interrupt and say that was me.
Oh, damn. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I wasn't purposely taking I wasn't purposely taking credit. I just didn't remember saying it. And I was going to say, good job, Sel.
Hey,
so
I'll pat you on the good job, team. How about that?
Let's just go, Matt. Good
job, team.
The only other thing that I have written down for this first part is that Neneka reveals, and amidst all of her insults to Geralt, she kind of lashes out at him, saying that, listen, I know that you're trying to make her human self, like, she thinks that having a baby is the only thing that, is going to keep her from being essentially a monster. She's one of the most powerful sorceresses or witches out there. And she's like, Geralt, it's not going to work. Like, I've yet to see a plan for that. And then he just says, like, oh, it can be done. And she's just like, what happened to you? Like, you used to be this ruthless, emotionless guy, and now you're just a big softy. And she says, you are trying to be human by making this work with Neneka, and you won't be. So she kind of oversteps, and after that, she kind of tones her insults down a little bit, because I think that was the peak insult for Geralt. That she saying that you're trying to be human, when we've seen him, doing the right thing and accepting the fact that he's different, and he almost like plants his flag in that, like, I know what I am. And that was like the peak of her insult, was just saying that you're just trying to be a human and you'll never be one. So stop going after her, because you won't be capable of having what you think you want. And I'm like, dang. Like, if that is not some savage mom advice, I don't know what is.
But in true mom fashion, she follows that up. She realizes that, like, she found the root of problem, and she's okay, let's back this off. And so she goes, well, okay, how did you and Yennefer meet? How did it all start? Go ahead and tell me that at least. And that brings us into this next chapter.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Which, again, is very similar to Dandelion, Jaskier. They kind of have that Doug wow moment again, where it's just like, tell me the story of how you met, like fade into fog and then flashback.
Yeah.
Right.
So I kind of like that it's different from the other ones, where it's just like, drop you into the map in the world. Here you go. Like, figure out what's going on. Where this is more clear cut. Like, we know we're about to meet Yennefer.
Flashback noise.
Well, like they've been training us for how many other chapters about like, hey, we're gonna voice of reason with a little foreshadowing and then tell you the backstory. So by now they're like, yeah, we'll just make it. We'll make it movie-esque.
We'll give you some freebies. You earned it.
If you haven't figured it out yet, here's the pattern.
Here's the pattern.
So this next chapter is called The Last Wish.
The title of the book.
And I have so I'm gonna ask if anybody you've both seen the show, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're familiar with the concept here. I wrote this down before I finished it, but my note here was, is Yennefer the last wish? Is she herself the last wish?
So would that have been a prediction?
I don't know if it was a prediction, but it just...
that sounds awfully like a prediction.
Yeah, if you change the phrasing a little bit, it's...
All right.
I think...
I'm
going to write that down. That was a prediction.
The last wish.
Okay.
All right, so it's a prediction. I can use the prediction sound. Beautiful.
Gotcha.
All right, continue.
Cleared that up.
What's going on? What do we got going on in The Last Wish, Part 1?
Fishing and drinking beers.
Fishing and drinking
What's
beers.
not to love?
Just some boys being boys.
Dudes being guys. We get dropped right into the...
Oh, hey, my mom's calling me.
scene.
Hold on one sec. Hold on. Hi, I'm in the middle of the podcast.
Put her up to the mic.
Hi. I'm in the middle of the podcast. The boys say hi.
Hi, Mom!
Mom!
Don't tell them how good you are.
Hi, Mom!
Say it again.
You can put me on the podcast. I'll tell everybody how
Oh, I
great
didn't hear
you
it.
all are.
I can't hear
Oh,
any of
no,
that.
you can't hear it? Oh, no.
You bought that fancy mic just for us to not be able to hear anything.
What's that? I got to let you go. We're in the middle of recording.
Bye, honey.
All right, love you. Bye.
What a horrible son.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to keep that in.
What a horrible, horrible son.
I told you guys
Okay.
right in the intro I needed to call my mom.
You literally did say
I thought that
in
was
the
just
intro.
like I should do that this week thing.
It was.
A today thing.
It was.
Mom, your mom's ears were burning, man.
Yeah, well, we just talked about Nenica having, like, the mom sense of, I should back... Like, let me... Okay, jab with
check
the
my
left.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, did my mom call me? I wouldn't be surprised.
All right.
No, she didn't. No.
Okay, but
apparently I'm not loved.
to get back to the story, we get dropped right in, as Lou said, to the action. Lou, continue, because I don't want to
So
steal your
we
thunder.
get dropped right into the action of Geralt and Dandelion trying to catch a leviathan of a catfish.
Ooh.
And they're talking about how they're struggling with this huge, I think they said like 12-foot long catfish, and they're letting some line out and they're pulling it back in. And
Yeah, if I know anything about a
talking-
fishing story, that's an exaggeration. It wasn't 12 feet.
absolutely.
It was
Probably
a
like
monster!
Maybe 4 feet.
You should have seen it.
That is the only thing I know about fishing stories.
Is that the fish was never that big.
That's right.
So, but they're talking about it and kind of I mean, it makes sense in the setting of the story, but like they're not using fishing poles. They just have a line, a rope of some kind, and their gloves. So Geralt's yelling at Dandelion, loosen the line. It's going to snap. Dandelion's like, no, it'll hold. And he starts talking about all the delicious meals that they're going to make, and they're going to sell part of the skin for something, and like all this crazy stuff. And then, of course, as you would think, the line snaps, and they kind of get in this little like best friend fighting sequence where they're yelling at each other back and forth. But to kind of skip ahead to the main protagonist or antagonist of this chapter, Dandelion pulls up one of their other lines to find a bunch of junk that's got all caught up, and inside the junk is a old, what they describe, I forget the exact term they use, but it's just an old vase of some kind that's been sealed. And Dandelion apparently immediately knows that this is this world's equivalent of a genie in a bottle. He calls it a djinn in a bottle. And that he's
like
really
gin.
excited because, I really like gin too, and cups rather than bottles. But he gets super excited because, like genies, djinns give wishes to whoever sets them free. And Geralt's kind of like, yeah, whatever. It's whatever you say. It's superstitious kind of feeling, which I thought was interesting. The fact that Geralt the Witcher is kind of like, no, that is made up. So,
who has
whatever.
seen like way worse?
Yeah.
So in that moment when they have their best friend fight, Geralt lays down my favorite insult yet, and it said, "You make a good a fisherman as a goat's arse makes a trumpet."
I was going to bring that up too. I forgot about that's when he said it. Yes. I heard that one too. I thought that was funny. But so in the middle of Dandelion and Geralt talking about this bottle and whether or not a djinn's inside
it's
of it,
actually
it gets knocked
an
over.
amphora is the word that you were looking for there too.
Ooh, amphora. Is that a vocab word?
That
It
was a
is now.
vocab word. I looked it up. And it's kind of the Roman two-handled jug thing. It's got two handles, a long neck.
I think that's really the one where Jesus turned the water into wine, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure.
I think I
yeah,
wrote
absolutely.
that down. That Greek two-handled pot thing. Got it. Cool.
Got it.
That'll be on the test,
So
listeners.
as they're discussing it, it is knocked over and it falls and it breaks. And immediately Dandelion goes into spewing out his wishes as this. I mean, like, the way the book describes it, I just pictured the gas Pokemon. What was his name?
Ghastly?
Oh, man.
Ghastly.
Haunter?
Ghastly.
Let
I
me
just
pull
pictured
out
Ghastly
my
coming out
vast
of this
knowledge
thing.
of Pokemon.
On a
Where to
dime.
start? There's so many.
No, come on. Past
No,
the original 151, it doesn't really matter.
Ooh,
He has spoken.
hot take.
He has hot take. I need a hot take sound
We need a
effect.
hot take.
So,
But I will
just-
die.
just a-
I will die on that hill.
Quick-
After the first 150, they don't matter.
Oh, wow.
right.
Quick correction
I see you.
there. They're fighting over it because Dandelion says, "Oh, it's a gin in a bottle," and Geralt's like, "Yeah, okay." He's like, "No, look, there's a seal on the thing," and that gets Geralt's attention. And Geralt's like, "Wait, let me see that." What? And Dandelion goes, "No, this is mine." So they fight over it. Basically, it's like a tug of war, and then it breaks open.
In this moment, things start getting immediately real for both of them. This mist, ghastly Pokemon looking red mist comes out of this jar and just starts flying around. And of course, Dandelion, he's just being himself, and he's like, "Oh, I wish for this, and I wish this guy would just keel over and die," and blah blah blah. And then the djinn comes straight at him and just like grabs him around the throat. Geralt doesn't even know what to do because he seemed like he didn't even know what this thing was. He's like, "What?"
Yeah, I didn't believe in it 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, and he goes, like, my Witcher knowledge has failed me. I don't know how to. And his friend is getting choked out, and I'm like, well, he's dead. Like, there's no.
Well, can we
option.
talk about Dandelion's first 2 wishes?
Yeah.
First things straight to mind, like he's been thinking about it for years. I wish my rival troubadour to be dead of this horrible disease as soon as possible.
So that horrible disease was actually just a stroke, and it's a vocab word, apoplexy.
Hey,
Apoplexy? There you go.
look at this
And then
guy.
the second wish is to get a girl that has not been or has
Refused
God.
his advances.
No, but not just his. Anyone's advances.
Oh, good point.
He specifically says this girl has refused all advances on her. Let mine be the one that seduces her. And I was just like, all right, so death and sex right out of the gate.
So,
Got it, Dandelion.
On that note, what do you think his third wish would have been? Because he doesn't get it out.
I was going to say that too.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Dandelion's third wish. I would either say a lute, a self-playing lute, or to never go hungry.
Ooh, I think he's too proud for the self-playing lute, because the lute he got in the last chapter, at the very end, he said practically, he goes, this thing practically plays itself because it's the most beautiful thing he's ever held in his hand, and Geralt was just kind of not paying attention to him, and all he could think about was this lute. But again, for a guy that's not ever satisfied or seemingly not satisfied, why not, wish for a better lute? I think I have two theories. One theory is that he's a more wishes guy. Like on my last wish, I'm going to wish for more wishes. But then I thought about Aladdin and Robin Williams. I'm like, you can't do that. There's rules. There's a whole song about those rules. You can't do that. I don't know how many of those are true, but
leave it to a troubadour to know the rules in song form.
Yeah.
There you go.
I feel like he would have wished for something like Spotify or like iTunes, like that he can put his music out into the world, so no matter where he is, he can spread his music to everybody.
So like Spotify, but it's run by Dandelion.
It's just
so only
him.
his
Yeah.
music's on it.
Yeah.
It's like that guy who needed a girlfriend, so he created a dating app that only he was the only male option on it.
Man, all of our Facebooks just got hacked.
Genius. Genius.
What do you think, Sean?
Oh, I don't know. I think he would probably have wished for free beer at any tavern, because that's what my third wish would have been if I was Dandelion. And I did take the quiz, and I got Dandelion. So
obviously you are the expert in what Dandelion.
Yeah, you know what he would want.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right.
Or that Roach had an unlimited supply of oats. Those are the two options there.
That would just be a solid move for a friend to do.
That's right.
Or unlimited monsters for Geralt to kill, because that was his complaint. Yeah. That'd be sweet, but maybe not. But anyway, this Jinn breaking out and choking out Dandelion is resolved only by Geralt just kind of trying something and hope, which I thought was hilarious. He picks up the lid of the jar because that's all that's whole still, and he kind of holds it up, and he's just like, like holds it out, and he's like saying some random BS that he remembered from a past time. He's like, I don't know if this will work, but here's a symbol on a lid. And then it works. Like the Jinn goes away, and he's just like, okay.
Yeah.
But then he turns around to see that Dandelion's throat is just like this massive like thing,
bulge.
like growth bulge, and he can't talk, and he's having trouble breathing, and isn't he throwing up as well? Like he's just
he was like puking blood.
Yeah. So Geralt's like, I can't help him. I need to get him to a knowing one. I need to get him to somebody who knows what the heck to do. So that's the end. That's the end of part one.
And
I like Geralt's reaction there. He's like, nod if everything is okay. Dandelion nods and then leans over and vomits blood. It's like, oh, so everything's not okay.
And then right on that note, I wrote down that I bet Dandelion wished that his third wish was that he got his voice back.
That's true.
Oh.
That's true. So you knew all along, Sean, what you had time to think about the third wish.
I forgot about that note. It popped up as I was scrolling through what part of the book we were in. That popped up. I forgot about it. So good job, past Sean.
Yeah, good job.
Self high five.
Self-past high five? Past self high five. That makes more sense.
Past self high.
So,
Part two.
part two, we arrive at the gates of some town. I don't think they mention the name of the town that they're at.
Not yet.
But we arrive at the gates of this town, and there's a pair of guards at the entrance that are like, yeah, he looks really bad. But sorry, no one's
Sun's
allowed in
going
after
down.
dark. So
Yeah, so I did have a vocab word there. I was trying to spread these out. but I did find a word I didn't recognize. Barbican, if I'm saying that right.
Ooh.
That
Which
was
is
one of mine too.
the outer defense of a castle, a double tower above a gate or drawbridge. So, again, just the author using a word that so specifically describes like an exact visual of like a drawbridge between two watchtowers. Like I could see where this was, which was kind of cool for me in terms of visually. But we have this comical scene, which is half serious, equal parts serious and comical, where Dandelion is pretty much still puking blood and in rough shape and like barely responsive, and Geralt is just arguing with these guards as politely as he can,
Yes.
because he doesn't want trouble already, because it's going to make his situation obviously exacerbated. So he's like, please let me in. And they're like, no, but you can stay in that little building over there until the sun comes up. So they head over there. And they just kind of bust into place, and there's a few people in there also doing the same thing, and they're like, whoa, what's going on? And Geralt's just like, he needs to lay down. So get up, like give him the bed. And they're like, why? And then they see him, they're like, oh, okay. yeah, lay him down.
Lay him down, please. We find out that these guys that are in the, what is it called again, Matt?
The Barbican. It is
Barbican.
one of the
So the guys that are
towers.
also waiting the Barbican for sunrise so they can go into the town are elves. Well, at least
one
two
of them
are.
I think
one
or,
of them.
Yeah, I think one.
But I thought it was very interesting because in the previous chapter we had learned how. In the previous chapter we had learned how the two cultures were so separated that like the elves in the Edge of the World chapter were shunned away to the mountains and trying to barely survive, but the elves that we meet in this Barbican are actually like integrated. Like Geralt even describes their clothing as kind of like half human, half elf, and like he describes that they're talking with kind of like an accent. At least that's how the voice actor also does it. Is like they have like a weird Middle Easternish accent. Obviously, it's kind of just the audiobook. But I thought it was a very cool contrast.
I thought it was a super relevant contrast as well. And just like a human rights perspective of, what these elves and half elves, even if you're, a quote unquote mixed elf human, like you still are considered an elf, and you are, it's just a lot of these requirements that are set on this fantasy society. So this elf starts kind of talking to Geralt while they have the time, because they have to wait for the sun to come up, and they're probably not going to get any sleep at all with Mr. Yax-a-Lot behind them, just puking up blood the whole time. So they get into this discussion about like how hard things have been for the elves and even half elves like himself, and he's mentioned this exorbitant tax on spells. I was like, this is the worst thing to happen to fairy tale creatures since Farquaad. Hate to bring up Shrek again, but I was like, the fact that there's this tax on casting spells, like, then I thought back to like the chapter with Renfrey and Strigobor. Like, I wonder if he could only do so much magic outside of the tower, or if it was like something cleared through the aldermen of that town. Like, you're only allowed to do this because that's the law. Like, if you're doing anything outside of that, then we're gonna like hunt you down. It's like you're gonna be taxed on it or whatever. So I was like thinking about all the magic that's been done. I'm like, wait, so is it just like an elf thing? Like, if you're an elf doing magic, even though you created magic to teach to the humans, like, we're gonna tax your ass on that. I thought that was pretty messed up.
Yeah, I think it might be a geographical thing. In this area, there's taxes.
Oh.
That's how I read it, at least.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Hearth Bound, where we discuss the taxation and municipalities of doing magic inside city limits.
That's right.
Dumb.
You got to move out to the township if you want to do that. Unincorporated areas.
I might have to get an e-check on my birthday. Really not looking forward to it.
Boo.
I will fail.
Oh, shit. I need to get our tags redone. Hey, babe.
Hey, don't forget to call your mom.
Oh, yeah, I'll call her too.
So the elves know, and they say, hey, that's a magical injury. I can give you a pain elixir and, kind of calm him down and keep him quiet and soothe the pain. But if this is going to get reversed, he needs somebody who knows how to fix magical injuries real quick. And Geralt's like, do you know anyone? I'm taking suggestions here. And so he says, well, there is a sorceress staying in town right now.
Ooh, I know, pick me. I think I know who it is.
Matt, do you have any ideas on who it is?
I do. I think it's Yennefer. A Vergaberg.
What gave that away?
I don't know. Sorceress in a town, in a chapter after talking about Yennefer. Fingers were crossed that it was Yennefer. And spoiler alert, it is Yennefer.
Oh,
It is. And we
Yennefer
learned that
Vengerberg.
Yennefer is staying with a local merchant, even though the town that they're currently at has kind of been embargoed or embargoed by other wizards and sorceresses because of the taxation, right?
Yes.
It would be boycotted, right?
Boycotted. That's the word
Yeah.
I'm looking for.
I just let you have it, but it's okay.
But I thought that was interesting that Yennefer, we get this characteristic of Yennefer right away that she's not a follower of the rest of the wizards or sorceresses. She's doing her own thing. She's realized that there's a lot of money to be made here because no other wizard will come into this town. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to do my magic and I'm going to pay whatever, or I'm going to get paid whatever I want to get paid because they have no other options. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
She's
I see you.
She's already a badass, and we haven't even really met her. You know, it's awesome.
So while, Aaron, that's pretty much it for this part, right?
Well,
so the sun comes up.
We
go
do
ahead.
we do have that moment. The sun time comes. They're allowed to go into the through the castle gates, and they go to this half elf guy. Who do we have his name? So I don't have to call him half elf guy.
I forget. I did not write it down.
I think he is in the show as well.
Coredian or something? Coradin?
Yeah, I think so. Somebody can fact check that on the old Google. But
Coraden.
Sure.
We'll go for it.
so he is leading Geralt to Yennefer, to the building that she's staying in, and he pretty much goes, well, this is about as far as I can get you because I know I'm going to get my ass kicked if I go any closer. If I go in there, they don't really like me and the elvish kind around here, around these parts. So Geralt goes in there, and in true Geralt fashion, there's this guard, and he's just like, what are you doing here? And Geralt's just being honest. He's like, I'm looking for a sorceress. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, well, I'm looking for the alderman, so I can talk to someone who's not you, buddy. And it's like, well, there's nobody like that here. You should get out if you know what's good for you. And Geralt's like, well, how about I give you some money? And the guy's like, how much? And then he tells him, and the guy's just like, look at this guy coming in here making deals. So Geralt goes to pull the coin purse out and just bops this dude 3 times and knocks him out. And I was
Geralt
like, not
bop.
just, yeah. So he hits him with the coin purse, right, the first time.
Yeah.
And then while this dude is like, he got hit so hard, he bops him again to knock him out. And then he gives him a third one, triple tap, just to let him know. Like,
Just make sure
he's not getting up.
knows.
Yeah.
And I like how Geralt gets up and he starts walking away from that and he goes, money does open all doors.
Yeah, it's so good.
And so one point of clarification is that Yennefer is not staying here willingly or as willingly as she could be. She's kind of trapped there because she refuses to pay taxes for the spells. So the mayor wants her, and if he sees her in public, he's going to take her. But she's staying with this merchant, and the merchant is very influential, and so the mayor's not willing to step on any toes. So basically, the de facto agreement is keep her in the house. She can do whatever she wants, but if she comes out in public, I have to capture her.
I want those
Yeah.
taxes.
Right.
Yeah.
He essentially wants to get her for tax evasion, but he can't arrest her in this dude's house. It's essentially what's going on.
Yeah. But interestingly enough, is it okay to use interesting if I add the ly on the end?
I think so.
Okay.
You're just going to adverb it up like that? Okay.
Adverbs. But Geralt, after bopping this guy into an unconscious state, he goes to find the alderman, the mayor, the leader of this castle, and the castellan, or I don't know what his official title was, but he
Just a
goes to
merchant.
look for this dude, and there is just this guy, butt ass naked, in the kitchen looking for stuff. And Geralt is like, hey, like, what's going on? You know? And he goes, I'm looking for some apple juice. And he's just this dude was clearly drunk out of his brains. And he's just like, okay, I'll help you find some apple juice. Like, where are you going? And he's like, she wants apple juice. You know, he's just like really trying to find it. And
this is where I felt seen. This is where I was like, who has the camera in my kitchen?
Yeah. But dude, like, the best part is that Geralt is just being a quality guy. Like, he's being such a bro in this moment because the guy's naked and it says that Geralt related to him. He's just like saying, yeah, I've been there. You know, so I'm like, is he relating to the guy getting drunk to the point of stripping naked and getting apple juice for women? I was like, right on, man. Like, Geralt just knows, like, I've been there. That's been me before. But he ends up for the mayor's like, you know what? How about I take the apple juice up there? No worries. I think in the drunken state, he just kind of lets him do it.
Well, no, he passes out. So they find the apple juice, and Geralt's pouring some into a jar to take up, or to give to him so he can take it up, and he turns around, and the dude's snoring. Yep. So Geralt's kind of just left there in the middle of this kitchen, holding a jug of apple juice, like, with the guys that he was just talking to, out like a light. So he's like, well, I guess I can try to find...
Yeah, now I know where to go.
This was for. Yeah. It's like, as long as you have a clipboard, no one will bother you. As long as you have a jug of apple juice, I can walk
just
around
a reflective vest and a helmet. No one's going to ask questions.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. So Geralt starts walking up the stairs or walking through this house, castle, building. I'm not exactly sure how big it is. But he starts to see, like, the remnants of a party. Like, there's tablecloths on the table and dishes, and like everything's all disheveled and stained.
High-heeled slippers.
And then after that, he starts to see clothing everywhere, and like he even notices that like the shoes or the high heels that Sean mentioned were made out of like the most expensive material to make shoes out of. So he's like noticing like there's a lot of things all over the place, and it's all real expensive and real fine, and
really just hard to find materials. Where he's like, "Dang, like seriously, like that's your boots are made out of that kind of dragon scale. Like that's impressive."
Yeah. So he finally gets to the bedroom where there is like just a mound of blankets and clothes, and it's talking to him, and it says, "Is that you with the apple juice?" Geralt's like, "Yes, I have the apple juice." And he just describes that like a pair of eyes and a set of lips like poke through the clothing, and says, "Oh, thank God, I'm dying of thirst."
Yeah. So to Sean's point earlier, they are making her sound just like this incredibly hot sorceress. Like
seductive.
Everything about her. Okay, whatever, seductive. But
hey, don't talk about my girlfriend like that.
So the quote that
my literary girlfriend,
Yennefer, which was my quiz result. Awkward.
I mean, Matt, I think you are beautiful. I hate to tell you.
Oh, thanks, man.
I would. Side note: I would say Matt is the one that looks like Yennefer the most. If Yennefer was a guy, she would look like Matt.
It's the long black locks.
Yeah. It is the long black. He looks down.
But the quote that this is when I knew I kind of saw like I'm thinking of The Mask when he's impersonating like the cartoons. He sees Cameron Diaz for the first time. And like he turns into the wolf and his tongue rolls across the floor and like the heart eyes coming out. I just imagine this like Geralt totally just enveloped in what she looks like. And the quote is by her clothes were hanging by a piece of anatomy well adept to being grasped. I was like, whoa, what a weird way to say ass, like or anything else. Like it's so like descriptive in those terms, and at one point Sean's
literally taking his hoodie off.
Get out of here.
So in addition to all these clothes and all these things that are in there, which to me the materialistic aspect that we're getting from Yennefer, I related back, and again this is me going teacher mode, push my glasses, adjust them, but all these materialistic things, typically that's you think of materialistic people as very shallow, very like socially snooty people. So Geralt kind of gets that right off the rip, but she also kind of sees that he isn't as dumb as he comes off, because he's kind of just like awestruck by how beautiful she is. But then she starts giving him shit. So he like kind of snaps out of it like, oh yeah, my wit, I gotta find that. But there are all these expensive things, and I related that back to her not being able to have a child. And I think those are all just kind of these distractions for her to kind of fill her life with things that she, something new, to kind of distract her from not being able to have a kid. So I kind of felt bad for her in this moment, because I'm like, ooh, I know something that you don't know I know, Yennefer. Like, I'm just the guy reading the book. But they also mention, which I didn't know, like fawn is a vocab word, which I thought of like a baby cow, right? Fawn. Am I thinking of the right animal?
Baby deer.
Stupid.
Yeah.
All right.
Bambi.
Mark it. But the fawn that's being referenced, because she kind of like leans over and she's like grabbing clothes or whatever, and there's a statue of a fawn, but it is not a baby deer. It is a lustful rural god, man with goat's horns, ears, legs, and tail.
A devil.
And typically are depicted with huge dongs. So like that's is kind of what the way that I took it.
The lion, the witch, and the audacity of this bitch.
So, I mean, the way that the book, and while we're talking about this, I'm going to try to find the exact quote, because I was confused, because she's putting her hand on the statue, I think, to like bend over, and I think she grabs it by the junk, this statue. And that Geralt is just standing there as awkward as ever, like, never mind.
I got a different vibe from this.
All right.
Reading this, I'll just set it up. As Geralt's walking in, I heard "Witchy Woman" playing by the Eagles.
Witchy Woman.
There we go. And
Nailed
Geralt
it.
walks in and he gives her the apple juice, and she's like, "Who are you? What are you doing here? And where, damn it, is the merchant that was here before?" And immediately, without hesitation, he goes, well, "What question do you want me to ask first?" Right. So Geralt walks into this situation, in my mind, totally prepared, calm, cool, collected, and is like, "Another beautiful woman that I have to woo."
See, I didn't take that like that. I took it like he was just, because like he says he immediately regretted saying this, but then he said, "Which answer do you, or what do you want me to answer first?" To me, it was more like that's Geralt's default. Just sarcastic asshole is Geralt's default. So even though like she's beautiful and he's looking at this beautiful woman, he's like, just anytime someone asks him a question like that, he's just immediately, well, which one do you want me to answer first?
Right.
Because ultimately, during this whole time we've been talking, Dandelion is still puking up blood and can't breathe. Like, I don't understand.
Blue is priorities,
it's
man.
lost.
Priorities. Beautiful woman needs wooing. He regrets it because the first thing that she does is she shoots out a golden streak from her fingers, and Geralt has to counter that. And he goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! Like, you took me wrong here. Like, I'm sorry about the sarcasm, but like, I come in peace. I'm actually here because I need your help."
And she's like impressed that she's like taken aback by the fact that he dodged her spell, right? And he even admits that like it came a lot more powerful than he thought. Like he got thrown up against the wall or something like that. So he's winded at this point, but he's like, yeah, like Sean said, he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I come in peace. Don't, I need your help. And so now she's intrigued, right? Yennefer's kind of like, wait a second. Okay, so you just dodged my spell. And then on a side note, like, servants come like busting in after she casts her spell, and they're like, "Lady Yennefer, like, what do you need?" And she's like, It's okay. Go get a bath ready, but I'm okay. I'll be fine by myself."
I read that a little different. She goes, "I don't need you. You're paid to keep an eye on the house, but since this individual has nevertheless managed to get in, I'll take care of it myself. Pass that on to the merchant and prepare a bath for me."
Yeah. That's exactly how it went.
Okay, so I did find that quote. I'm sorry to like interject here, but
No.
at the point, well, it's not really interjecting because this is what you guys are talking about. So as soon as she throws him across the room, She just pretty much tells him, like, tell me who you are, and you don't have a lot of time to tell me because I'm getting impatient. I want my apple juice and my bath. She's just like a little kid.
She's like a 4-year-old.
Yeah, so he's just like, I'm Geralt of Rivia, Witcher. He just kind of jumps out, and then it says, Yennefer leaned out of the bed, grasping a fawn, so this goat.
Oh,
man,
yeah.
engraved on the pole by a piece of anatomy well adapted to being grasped. And I was like,
the horn. The goat horn. Matt, come on.
oh, okay. Silly me with the gutter mind.
How many times you pull your horn today, bud?
So I was just like, whoa.
Who is the fawn in Chronicles of Narnia?
Mr.
He's
Thomas?
not the same.
Mr.
Thomas. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Mr. No, it wasn't Thomas. It was it was close. It was
Tobias or something. No.
Not Tamar. Oh, see, now I got to Google it.
Someone is yelling at us right now.
Like, come on!
Chronicles
I haven't seen that movie in
of Narnia.
a minute.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Mr. What is it? Fawn. Come on. Tumnus. Mr. Tumnus.
Tumnus.
Ah.
What a weird name.
Yeah, dumb. But anyway.
So back to the story.
Yeah. So back to that. Yeah. So Geralt yet again is being outwitted by an incredibly powerful and intelligent woman. First we had Nenneca, who has raised Geralt, let's be honest. And with that, she has passed on some of her wit. And he only measures up to about a fraction of that. But then Yennefer, the fact that she got on Nenneca's nerves told me that she is also one with the wit. So she matched her. So I'm like, Yennefer's going to be so good at just making Geralt feel like an idiot. And she does. So my thing one of my last notes for this section was Yen versus Nen, who has the better wit. I'm going to go Nenneca always because she always has something to say. Where Yennefer's just like dominant in terms of like her beauty. And it's like she's also able to play on that with her wit. And it's also good wit, but I don't think it's to the caliber.
Well, and it's something about like how like your mom can make insults extremely personal, to whereas like Yennefer could probably quote like some obscure reference and make the insult so great, but the fact that like Nenneca could like relate it to like a personal mistake or a personal fall or failure, like that is a step above.
Top tier.
And I think there's backhanded compliments too, right? Compliments that are
Yes.
So my mom had a really good one. I was trying to learn how to play guitar, and I was like, "Mom, listen, I learned a chord," and she goes, "Are you sure your guitar's in tune, honey?" And I was like, "Oh,
tough break."
After everything's kind of settled down and Yennefer has gotten clothed a little bit, she wants Geralt to explain why he's here, and he goes to explain, and he says, "Well, I guess I should start at the beginning," and she immediately goes, Whoa. If it's going to be like that, I'm going to need a bath. And you're just going to have to tell me later. Because, like, I don't have time or the patience or the facilities to take a whole backstory to why you've interrupted me. I didn't plan on getting up until past midday. And here I am. I'm willing to listen to you because you brought me the apple juice.
Yeah.
But I need a bath first.
But
and then the best insult. She goes, and you might want to think about taking the bath as well, because not only can I tell you the age and the breed of your horse, but I can tell you what color it is by how bad you smell.
Geralt's in his barn clothes."
Yeah.
That was a great insult.
Great day for hay.
That is a great day for hay. So then, yes, we open the next part with Geralt finishing up in the bath and Yennefer about to walk in, if anybody wants to take it away.
This scene opens, and again, I think of the video game scene. I think something that the show did pretty well is replicate this scene of Yennefer coming into for the bath. What they didn't do in the show, though, is that she's invisible in the book. She teases the hell out of Geralt, and I know she does a little bit in the show too. But Yennefer walks in, and she's kind of wrapped up, and she's just like, "Can you pretend like you've seen a woman before?" And it's like, oh my God, and he's just finishing up his bath. She's about to get undressed. She's like, "You know what?" And then she goes invisible, and Geralt's just like startled. He's just like, whoa, like what's going on?
Yen and I had talked about that, and we actually decided to do that as out of respect for me, that she wasn't gonna, that was the reason.
Oh gosh.
So the amount of detail and the amount of effort that the author put into really showing you, like, one, either how weak Geralt truly is, this soft center to him, or just like how, or both, or how insanely beautiful that Yennefer is, because even invisible, Geralt is just like drooling over just the shape of the towel that he sees in front of him, or this fabric, and like how it falls off of her body is where he is just, he's shaking in his boots. He's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like she is
Well, and then
insane.
like a little bit going a little ahead, but like they describe like how when she's using the soap, like he starts to pay attention to the shapes that the soaps outline, and when she pours like jugs of water on her to rinse off, like, you know, even though she was invisible, he can still start to make out some shapes and stuff like that. So you definitely get the sense that Geralt thinks she's beautiful.
Yeah.
At least Geralt does, right?
Yeah, so you definitely get that feel.
So while Yennefer's taking her bath completely invisible, Geralt's going through the story, and he starts to talk about, you know, why he's here, about Dandelion and the Djinn and stuff like that. And she's kind of like, she's doing two things really. She's probing to figure out who Geralt is. She knows of him. She mentioned in the previous part that, you know, this is the first time she's ever met a Witcher, and it's not only a Witcher, but it's the White Wolf. So again, Geralt's reputation is preceding him, and she goes and talks about what he knows, what he's trying to tell her, and she's trying to figure out how much she can trust him. It's kind of the vibe I got, at least. But it does get broken up a little bit with her asking him, well, when the Djinn came out, how did you defeat it? Or however she puts it, I can't remember exactly. And he describes how, like, well, you know, the seal was there, and I just shouted a exorcism at it, and she kind of squints her eyes, and she's like, which one? And he kind of embarrassingly goes, well, it was this one I heard a while ago, and he says it, but the way he says it, this was funny. I've always thought about this about magic. When you say, like, when you're teaching someone how to do magic, how do you not do the magic? Like, if you were to teach someone how to say the word, I can't even say it. What's the kill word? And Abracadabra. Like,
Can you say that one?
You got to drink on that one, buddy.
No. Too many A's and stuff in that.
Abracadabra.
So, like, how do you not cast it after you're teaching someone how to say it? So he addresses it in this part, and he says, I omitted the E as is customary with the word to not accidentally cast it. And I was like, that's an interesting little, you know, rule of thumb. Like, if you're ever trying to teach someone magic.
And so what he does, he thought that he'd impress her. And so she's still invisible right now, right? And so he thought that he'd impress her with his knowledge of magic and exorcisms. And she starts laughing at him. And he kind of goes, what's so funny? And she goes, this exorcism of yours. And she, like, cracks up laughing. And she says, you know, oh, my friend Triss is going to kill herself laughing when she hears it. She's like, who taught you that? And he's like, you know, a priestess. And she goes, it's not an exorcism. It's a witty saying. Basically, and I don't think they tell him this here. They tell him what it means later in the book. So we should actually save that. I lied. I don't want to
We'll get to that
say
later.
what that is. But this whole time, he's got this smell of lilac and gooseberries. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what lilac and gooseberries smells like, but I would very much like to learn.
I would like to know that. Somebody send me a scent sample.
Yeah, how do we get a lilac and gooseberries scent sample? I don't know what a gooseberry is.
Is gooseberries a real thing?
I think so. Yeah.
I was going to say, I feel like not that I've ordered a gooseberry drink, but I feel like I've been next to someone that's ordered a gooseberry drink. Like, that's what I associate it with.
A long, tall glass of Yennefer. So basically what's happening is she's getting dressed and she's combing her hair and she's still naked, but she's putting on this dress and she goes, come help me and fasten me up. And Geralt takes his sweet time doing one clip at a time and enjoying this scent. And she's kind of drawing more information. She goes, go back to this bottle creature. She's like, it's funny that this incantation drove him away. But like, do you think that like why do you think he left? And he's like, I'll probably because he went off to kill Valdo Marx. She's like,
Yeah, the other troubadour.
right, yeah, that's the guy that Dandelion wished dead. And she's like, so he got his wishes. How many wishes did he get? And he's like, he got 2 stupid wishes out. But he's like, but it's clearly nonsense. And she goes, clearly. Yeah, of course, it's nonsense.
Yeah. This giant red mist choked out your best friend. It's obviously fake.
Yeah, this is like middle school Geralt. He's just like fumbling over his words, and it's almost like he's trying to pretend like he knows what he's talking about with her just to seem cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, clearly this is just all BS. Like, right? Yeah. You know what I mean?
But she does bring up one point. She does ask him if Jaskier, damn it. I was so good all episode. I didn't do it. She asked if Dandelion has the seal that was on the bottle, and he kind of hesitates and he's thinking about it, but realistically he's thinking about whether or not to tell her. He makes the mental note that he's heard that it's wise to not tell sorceresses or wizards the whole truth. So he lies. He says something to the tune of, I think so, and then he pauses again and goes, yeah, it would make sense if he still had it, and she kind of buys it.
And he goes, why? Is it important?
Yeah.
And she goes, well, that's a strange question for a witcher and supposed to be a specialist in supernatural monstrosities. Like, you ought to know that the seal's important enough not to touch and not to let your friend touch it. And he's got it, like, in his back pocket in his hand. And he's like, yeah, right,
bullets.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, this section kind of ends with Yennefer again showcasing how powerful she is, and she opens a portal and she's like, listen, your friend is dying. And she kind of just like recaps everything for that section. It's like, okay, so this is what's happening. This is what I'm going to help you do. But first we need to go. It seems like she really is interested in this lid. So she opens a portal and Geralt's just like, I don't do portals. He goes, I've heard a lot of negativity about these. And she goes, oh, well, I'm not.
Or he recollects that he's seen half of a man come through a portal, but not the other half. And I was like,
yeah. Top half or bottom half, Geralt. Doesn't matter. But
Yennefer tries to reassure him, saying that my portals are safe. And like, just like, how awesome would that be? Just like, okay, whoa. Portal, where do you want to go? Yeah,
so Geralt, trying to impress his middle school crush, he accepts. So he goes in, and the description of this reminded me a lot of Harry's description of Dumbledore when they, oh my gosh.
Evaporate.
Well, they don't evaporate. They don't.
No, isn't it evaporate?
No, apparate. Jesus,
apparate,
I would have been mad at myself.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm reading this now. They just learned how to do this. But the first time Harry apparates, it's just like Dumbledore tells him to grab his arm, and he describes everything going black and being kind of like in this whirlwind, like his insides are on his outsides, and he just feels sick on the other side. And that's kind of what Geralt describes that as well, as this going into this portal, but in complete darkness, which is the opposite of what the show does. Like when they open a portal, it's kind of like Doctor Strange, where you can see...
It's exactly like Doctor Strange.
You see the other side of where that portal goes, and you can just run straight to it. But this one's like, hop into this black hole, and Geralt's just like, I'll walk. It's down the street, I'll walk. And she's just like, through the portal, that's where you're going to walk. And he's like, yeah, okay.
And so when she opens the portal, she goes, hold me. She's like, no, tighter. Like, I'm not made of china. Like, she's flirting back with Geralt. And I'm upset with her about that. We're going to have a long talk about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sean Martz is upset at Yennefer for flirting with Geralt.
A fictional character.
This is the literary love right here.
That's where we're going to leave off, mostly because this is going to be another hour-long episode,
yeah.
And secondly because I haven't read anymore. So... Prediction times.
I've read ahead. Well, I could not leave Yennefer alone. I read ahead, so I can't predict anything.
Obviously, we didn't think that you could have put this book down. Well, I've seen the show.
Same.
So I have a feeling I know what's going to happen. But I have a feeling, like, I don't know if this was true in the show, but in the book, at least, I have a feeling that the seal that Geralt lied about will come into play a point. Or a part at least, and I think that'll leave it at that.
That's boo. That's safe. That was a safe. That was. Oh,
Well,
come on.
based on the show, it's weird because there's a lot of things in the show that get either completely wiped or left out, as all book to movie and or shows work. But I think in terms of this power over Geralt, I don't even know if this is a prediction, but I know that the prediction I will make, I guess, is that Yennefer's this headstrong, because she's kind of similar to Geralt in that sense. They're both kind of the same person, or persons, the same people, with different ability sets. So they have a very similar mindset, but they are just good at two different things. So I think this ability to butt heads that they have, that they're really good at, and this banter that they have back and forth, is going to play into this emotion that Geralt has that we've been scared of the whole book, that Nenneca has been fearing. I think the hint that is being dropped in the Voice of Reason is from Nenneca saying that he's getting too attached, too emotional, and we're going to see what the fallout of his attachment to Yennefer is going to be.
I think Nenneca saying that is the fallout of his attachment with Yennefer, because this is going back in time, right? This is, how did you and Yennefer meet? So yeah, I think you're right, Matt. I think that's a good prediction. That's a safe prediction.
Yeah, and for the listeners who have not peeped this part of the book or seen this part of the show, I think that's a pretty good place to leave you on that cliff.
Yeah, that's a good cliff to leave.
But yeah, we're just about at time. So this has been awesome. Episode 12?
A dozen episodes. We're going to spend 13 episodes on the first book we ever reviewed. Should that be the norm?
Baker's dozen for 400 pages.
I think that's pretty solid.
That's pretty good. That's pretty
I think
good.
all the enjoyment makes it worth it. All the combos has made this worth it.
All the banter makes it well worth it, right, guys?
Yeah. Before we get out of here, though, keep your eyes open on ye old Twitter and Instagram. Let us know when that poll drops what book we should read: Dune, or all of them, all the above.
No, I want other people to suggest.
No,
Yeah.
Lou, I think there's a hype train. Dune, the trailer just
jump on
dropped.
the hype train?
We got to ride the wave. We got to ride the wave. Yeah.
All right.
Listener, please.
And give me some alone
Matt
time
said,
with
We've
Yennefer.
heard from a lot. We've heard a lot from the pro-Duners. Where are the anti-Duners? I know nothing.
Give me some reasons
Are
not
there
to read it.
anti-Duners? No.
I mean, there probably is at least one. There's one Karen out there that's just like, Dune is the devil. And the
devil!
We'll hear from that.
The devil.
We'll hear from that person.
All right.
But thanks for everyone listening in. We'll get the last episode for The Last Wish.
In the Last Wish chapter,
Wow.
will
We
Geralt
did it, boys.
seal the Djinn
Will
with the help of Yennefer and save Jaskier Dandelion from his fate? Tune in next time to an exciting...
Find out.
No, this is Patrick.
Yeah, okay, Dooner. That was a missed opportunity, Lou. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Hearth Bound and the heartwarming surprise call from Sean's mom. So cute. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at HearthboundPod so you can take part in the upcoming poll for our Season 2 book selection. If you're looking for the easiest way to support the show, give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcasting app. And if that doesn't quite get your goat, think of at least one other nerdy human in your life and make sure you tell them all about us. But only the good stuff. We've been itching to give some of our awesome stickers away, and if you're someone who has written a review, hit us up on Twitter so we know where to send your stickers and or bookmarks. Speaking of merch and shameless bribing, we plan to do a huge Witcher-themed giveaway after the completion of The Last Wish in Season 1. But if you're as impatient as I am about getting your hands on merch, you can head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/hearthboundpodcast, where you can join one of our classy Patreon guilds. Your unparalleled support will be met with access to bonus content ranging from an invite to our Discord server to becoming an honorary member of our Epic Sticker Club. And it's way cooler than it sounds. Trust me. We are constantly cooking up new merch ideas and we are always open to suggestions. So check us out and let us know what you think. But as a wise, stuffed bouncing tiger once said, TTFN, ta-ta for now, and we'll see you in the next episode of Hearth Bound.